The film opens with a young woman named Bai rushing into a café and pleading with the waitress to let her use the bathroom. The waitress explains that the bathrooms are only for paying customers and Bai would need to make a purchase first. Looking around, Bai notices a long line of people waiting to pay and desperately begs the waitress, promising to buy something afterward. However, the waitress remains unmoved. Nearby, a man named Ben observes the situation and steps in, pretending to be Bai's husband. He argues that she should be allowed to use the bathroom since he already bought a drink. Reluctantly, the waitress agrees, and Bai is finally able to go to the bathroom, thanks to Ben's quick thinking. Once inside the bathroom, Bai calls a friend to excitedly share that she felt a special connection with a man in the cafe. However, amidst the chaos of the moment, she accidentally wets her pants. Panicked, she scrambles to dry them as quickly as possible. After some effort, she manages to dry them and walks out of the bathroom, trying to act as though nothing happened. Bai politely thanks Ben for his help and says goodbye, but as they part ways, Ben notices a piece of toilet paper stuck to her shoe. He calls out to let her know, but before he can say anything, Bai turns around and interrupts him, asking if he plans to ask her out. Taken aback but pleasantly surprised, Ben replies that of course he will. The two go on to have a fantastic time together, exploring the city and enjoying each other's company. Their chemistry is undeniable, and the evening ends with Ben inviting Bai to his apartment, where they share a spontaneous and intimate dinner. During the evening, Bai and Ben open up to each other, sharing deeply personal stories. Bai talks about her doubts about finishing her studies to become a lawyer, while Ben explains the significance of a wrench on his shelf. He reveals that it was a gift from his mother, who always believed that no matter how broken something might seem, there is always a way to fix it. As the night goes on, their bond grows stronger, but they both fall asleep on the couch, sharing a quiet moment of connection without anything romantic or intimate happening. The next morning, Bai wakes up early and decides to quietly leave without saying goodbye. However, as she's slipping out, Ben wakes up and is visibly upset when he realizes she's leaving without a word. On her way out, Bai calls her sister, Ollie, and tells her about the wonderful time she had with a handsome man. Ollie advises her that leaving without saying goodbye was a mistake and encourages her to go back to Ben's apartment to spend the rest of the day with him. Bai takes her sister's advice and goes back to Ben's apartment, but as she approaches, she overhears a conversation between him and his friend Peter. In the conversation, Ben describes Bai as clumsy and boring and even expresses relief that she's out of his life. Shocked and heartbroken, Bai quietly leaves without confronting him. 6 months later, Ben is at a nightclub with Peter, where they run into Claudia, Peter's sister, who happens to be there with Ollie, Bai's sister. Unexpectedly, Bai is also at the nightclub. Seeing Ben again after 6 months catches her off guard, and she's visibly upset, as she still hasn't forgotten his hurtful words. Ben, on the other hand, feels resentful that Bai had left without saying goodbye. Both of them are clearly unhappy to see each other and wish for the night to end quickly. However, fate has other plans. Claudia and Jaylai announce that they're getting married and invite everyone to their wedding, which will take place in Australia. Ben boards his flight to Australia, only to discover that Bai is coincidentally on the same plane. During the flight, while Ben is asleep, Bai mischievously tries to steal a cookie from him. The task proves more challenging than expected as she gets stuck in her seat while reaching for it. After a series of awkward maneuvers, she finally frees herself without waking Ben, who is wearing a blindfold and headphones blasting loud music. When they arrive in Australia, they are greeted by someone who informs them that everyone will be staying together in the same house. Both Ben and Bai feel uneasy and irritated by the arrangement. Ben is caught off guard when he realizes that his ex-girlfriend Margaret, whom he struggled to get over, will also be staying in the house. Now, he has to confront unresolved feelings while navigating the awkwardness of her presence. Meanwhile, Bai faces her own challenges as her parents begin pressuring her to rekindle her relationship with Jonathan, a young man she dated during her teenage years. This only adds to Bai's discomfort and frustration during the trip. That evening, Ben and Bai start playfully arguing over a firework, but things quickly get out of hand when it explodes, nearly causing a disaster. Worried that their antics might ruin the wedding, Claudia and Jaylai step in, determined to help reconcile the two before things spiral further. Amid the chaos, Bai is shocked to find that her parents have invited her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan, in an attempt to get them back together. This creates a dilemma for Bai, as she has firmly decided that their breakup is final. Desperate to avoid her parents' meddling, she asks Ben to pretend they are a couple so they'll stop pressuring her about Jonathan. Ben agrees, realizing it might work to his advantage too. If Margaret sees him with Bai, she might become jealous and show interest in him again. The two strike a deal and start acting affectionately toward each other, doing their best to convince everyone that they are deeply in love. Back at the house, Ben takes the time to teach Bai's father how to dive, an act that touches Bai's heart. Grateful, she thanks him and uses the opportunity to further convince her parents that she and Ben are in a relationship. She hopes this will finally stop them from pressuring her to reconcile with her ex, Jonathan. The two play their roles convincingly, even holding hands and acting affectionate, which leads everyone to believe their relationship is real. Meanwhile, Bai spends some time with Jonathan as they get along well, which pleases her parents, who are still hopeful for a reconciliation. On the other side of things, Margaret, Ben's ex, starts flirting with him after seeing how close he seems to be with Bai. Feeling jealous, she tries to regain his attention. Ben, realizing the plan is working, quickly tells Bai, though he appears nervous about the situation. Seeing his unease, Bai reassures him, and together they come up with a new plan to intensify Margaret's jealousy and keep the ruse going. In the afternoon, the entire family gets ready for a walk, and when they arrive, Bai stuns everyone with her beautiful dress. Each of the main characters spends time with their ex-partners, chatting and flirting a little. Ben then asks Bai to dance, and the chemistry between them is undeniable, making them look like a perfect couple. When they learn that everyone will head to the deck for a toast, Bai takes Ben to reenact the famous Titanic scene, convinced this will convince her family that their relationship is real and will make Margaret even more jealous. Their plan works perfectly. However, as they're heading back with the others, Bai accidentally falls overboard and Ben quickly jumps in to help her. Unfortunately, when they try to return to the ship, it drifts away, leaving them stranded in the water. Seeing this, their relatives panic and call for rescue, realizing that the only way to save them is to send help. Meanwhile, Ben and Bai swim to a nearby buoy and take refuge there, both feeling scared and alone. As they wait for help, they have a heartfelt conversation, reflecting on the first time they met. They both apologize to each other, Ben for speaking badly of her, and Bai for leaving his apartment without saying goodbye. Just as they're about to kiss, the rescuers arrive to save them. Ben, terrified of heights, begins to panic, but Bai calms him down by singing the song he listens to when flying, which helps ease his anxiety and allows him to forget his fear. Back at home, it's clear that the attraction between Ben and Bai is undeniable. They spend the night together, and after several hours, they decide to leave the room while Bai is still asleep. Finally, the wedding day arrives, and everyone is busy preparing, making sure everything is perfect for the big event. Ben goes to pick up the flowers with Peter, and on the way, he admits that he's feeling confused. He tells Peter that he's unsure about Bai, especially since she dropped out of school, and he sees her as someone who's indecisive about her future. Meanwhile, Bai goes to pick up the cake with Margaret, Ben's ex-girlfriend. Margaret asks Bai if her relationship with Ben is serious, and Bai replies that it isn't. They're only together because of certain circumstances. Margaret is pleased to hear this, as it gives her hope that she can still win Ben back. When Bai returns home, she finds that her parents already know about her decision to drop out of school, which causes a major uproar. Furious, Bai blames Ben for telling them. In the heat of the argument, Bai, extremely upset, admits to her parents that the entire relationship with Ben was a lie, a pretense to stop them from pressuring her. To make matters worse, the pet ruins the cake, which leaves the brides very upset and frustrated. Hours later, everyone gets ready for the wedding, and Ben watches as the brides argue, causing him to reconsider whether getting married is really a good idea. Seeing the tension, Ben grows concerned, realizing that their fighting is ruining the atmosphere. In an attempt to restore some peace, he apologizes to the brides, and with that, the ceremony proceeds without any further issues. During the mass, Ben and Bai can't stop stealing glances at each other. Later, at the reception, the newlyweds dance and cut the cake. Bai takes a moment to speak with her parents, apologizing for not sharing her decision to drop out of school. After a heartfelt conversation, they make amends and their relationship settles down. Meanwhile, Margaret seizes the opportunity to dance with Ben and admits that she recently broke up with her boyfriend. She confesses that she's still in love with him and is hoping for another chance. B, feeling jealous and upset, left the party quietly and took an Uber to another location. Ben noticed her absence and tried to figure out what had happened. When Pete and Roger started teasing him, he firmly told them to stop. After seeking advice from those around him, Ben decided to go after B. He guessed she might be near the opera house. Without wasting any time, Ben asked his friends to contact the Coast Guard. Then, in a bold move, he jumped into the sea. While waiting for the Coast Guard to rescue him, he asked them to take him to the opera house. When Ben arrived, B was sitting there alone. Her sadness quickly turned to joy when she saw him. The two finally shared a romantic kiss. I hope you enjoyed this introduction. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give me your support with likes and comments.